process is one where you have to be very, very specific. You've got to read and analyse what you've written. You're writing a word and then you think a word and it doesn't get put down on the page and you keep writing a different word. So that is a perfect example of a sentence that, didn't make sense because words were omitted. Somebody else share what they did. Who else did something? Yes, scorchingly terrifying heat. And he said one of those words was about the temperature and one was about the kind of the scared factor. And he didn't like the fact that both were in the sentence together, so he's taken one out. And again, you made better sense of your sentence, Cameron. Teddy, you made the sentence make sense. You actually changed the structure and you changed the meaning. Okay, right, we've got it up here. And I can draw on this?
Yes. With that one. Yes.
With that one?
Yes.
Beautiful. Can I change the colour?
Yes.
To here?
Lucky, now we change the colour.
Okay. So I've got the story content here, all right? So we're going to do it slightly differently because I know when you're working with Miss Taplin and Mr. Holmes, you've got the sentences written up there, haven't you? We're going to do it slightly differently today just to see what it feels like not to have those words. The first thing that I've put in my script is that these are bystanders. So this is the word, bystanders. Who's heard of that word before? Bystanders. Right. Tell me what you think it means. And people are, or there's a fight and people are around and they're just kind of looking. What would you call those people? Bystanders. Okay. It's a cool word. I think it captures these people quite well. So they're not involved at the minute. So these are going to be bystanders. And here you can see them, they're kind of like signalling. So we need a verb for what they're doing here. Waving down, signalling. So think of a verb. Yes.
Pointing.
Pointing. So they're pointing. And they're pointing at the fire and at the helicopter. What do you think, Onyx? Is that yours? What do you think?
I was going to say
Directing. So they're kind of like signalling, directing, waving down. Do you have another one here? With. And I wanted to put proper nouns here. So I call this the Channel 7 helicopter. Have a think and talk, and I like the way that your teachers ask you to do this because I think this is really cool. I think you and I listen to what you say when you're in your pairs. Think about what you could put here, like I wrote Channel 7 helicopter, and I would be putting all of those in capitals, which would make them a series of proper nouns because they are because proper nouns tell you the name. Who said name? Well done. They tell you the name of something, okay? So have a think. Talk to your neighbour. Right. Yeah. Yes. What's your name? Zach is saying that you can read back and see what else you've used in your proper nouns. That might give you some examples. I need to hear you talking to your neighbour now, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well done. Can I ask who thinks they've got a fabulous name? Call this helicopter the
fire brigade because I thought
Yep.
just mainly the way they're dressed, and I don't think Channel 7 would be doing much to help them.
Right.
They'll be filming mostly.
Right. That's great. You've got to, like, if that's the vibe you think is operating, You stay with that. You stay with how you think things are going. Onyx. So the daily bugle communications, you'd need another line there, helicopter. So you'd need 4 words, okay? So we've got so far the bystanders verbed to the helicopter that was landing. Now, where do you think it was landing? We need like a word that you would expect to sort of see at the Royal Show. Where do you think it was landing? Beautiful. So it might have been landing at the showgrounds or on the oval. Press what?
Lockie. So can I send my communications helper to you?
Who's that?
Lockie.
Lockie, come back to you. You just have to listen, okay? Showground, someone else said oval. Someone else said
Helicopter platform.
helicopter platform. I like how we're getting so specific. Right, don't touch it. So we're going to go like this. Number 1, bystanders. Number 2, we're going to do that kind of that verb, the verb. Number 3, the helicopter that, we need to use that word that, was landing. So your sentence has to be, so I'll do mine and then you do yours. The bystanders waved down, I'm going to stay with the Channel 7 helicopter that was landing near the pavilions. I love, when I go to the Royal Show, I love to go into the pavilions. So when I say that word, it reminds me of the experiences I have. Makes sense to you, you write that, okay? So here's the thing. We've got each going to have similar sentence, but I bet that we're all going to have something that's slightly different. In your heads, rehearse this sentence. Go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. In your heads. That's where you rehearse and get it right. Now, turn to your partner and say what you're going to write. Blades? Oh, blaze. I love Hobbit. I love blaze. I love onlookers. I love the way you deliberately used very, very kind of descriptive and specific words. I love that. Well done. Frantically. Well done. Frantically would be a what? And what's frantically? If we were going to say what sort of language device it is. Adverb of manner. Why is it an adverb of manner, Cameron? And what's it doing? What's the job it's doing in that sentence? It's upgrading the verb. Mwah! Chef's kiss to you, Cameron. Keep reading, Cameron. What's that word you said after flew, Cameron? So what would that be? Here. What's this word? Dog. Did you hear that? Waved frantically, flew rapidly. What would you reckon that is? Adverb of manner. 2 out of 2. Fantastic. I didn't even teach you that. Yes. Oh, yes, you can. But there was one more person before you. Again, no wonder you wanted to read it. Do you know what I love? I love that simile. There's one more word that I think is the hero word. It's towards the end of your sentence. What do you think it is?
Defenseless.
How did you know I was going to say defenseless? It's just a cool word, isn't it? Because they are, what does defenseless mean?
They've got nothing to protect them.
They've got nothing to protect themselves with. Okay, guys, I need your opinions now. We've done one sentence from this. We've got another sentence to go. I want you to tell me what you think helps you better. Is it better to have the words up there, like Mr. Holmes and Ms. Kaplan have? Or, I mean, it doesn't have to be better, or is it equally helpful or not as helpful to have the arrows and the numbers and the words on, on the actual picture? Have a think for 22 seconds. Have a think, talk to your partner. Talk to your partner about what you think.
I like this one
Oscar.
I like this way more because it stimulates me more, and it doesn't have a base, and it like starts off with nothing, and then you've got to build it up.
Right.
I like that.
So it doesn't have a base, it starts off with nothing, and you build it up more. I'm just going to ask the people, if you have something to say about this way, keep your hand up. If you have something to say about the other way, I'll ask second. Yes, Don. Not Don. Lockie.
I really like this way because, like, with the other one, you have to write something said, but then with this one, you can write whatever you want.
Right. So you're kind of a bit in tune with Oscar, that you and for some people that will be a good thing, but not for everyone.
I like this one because I like making my own sentence instead of building off and upgrading ones from a sentence.
Even though I am still giving you what I want you to write, though, aren't I? Does it feel different?
Yeah.
Down the back.
It's a bit like what the last people have said. I think that this is better because you don't have the words, so you can't copy off the words and stuff.
Right. Are you tempted to copy when they're up there and not?
Yeah.
Are you? Right. That's a very honest thing to tell me. Thank you.
I prefer this way because most of the time we need to stick to this text structure when the words are up there. But with this way we can write however we want and add in lots of stuff that's going on.
Right. However, I am going to say something that when I watched Ms. Taslin and Mr. Holmes teach you with the other way, with the sentence up there, I did see people do things like slip in similes and adverbs of manner, but do you feel that you're less able to do that? You feel like you're kind of bound by the sentence?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we said to you, particularly at this end of the term, if we said to you, here is the sentence, but you can add your own adverbs of manner and similes, would that make a difference? We invite you to add your own things.
Yeah.
Maybe. And maybe we needed to do 5 or 6 weeks of more structured writing, and then we can invite you to change, because you know what you're doing now, you're in control.
I like this way better because it's also set you can only change songs this way. They're not saying that you can't change others, but it's more like you don't know if it will fit unless you ask.
Right.
Whether with this, it's almost like you can change the whole sentence structure to a completely different thing
Right.
than having the same structure.
Which could go very right, but it could also go very wrong. It could. And so I don't have as much control over your sentences doing it this way. I'll have these two, but thank you for that. That's a good point.
It makes a lot of people's it makes people's stories a lot more different, whereas
And again, that's the sort of thing that I lose control when I teach you this way, because I'm not sure what you're going to write. So I've got to trust that it's okay, but you are right.
I like it when it's different.
You like it when it's different. And you had something to say.
I wanted to say the same thing.
Same thing. Okay. Oh,
I like it, but I think it'll take me longer to do
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's a lot of things.
there's a lot, and everything. You've got to spell it yourself. You've got to keep track of where you are in the sentence. All right. Very quickly, hands up if you've got something. If you would prefer the other way. Who prefers the other way? Come on, guys. Yes, absolutely.
The other way, I sort of know what to write.
Yeah.
If I don't really know what's on the screen, I sort of get lost and I can't really think.
Yeah. I absolutely concur. Do you know what that word means? What do you think it might mean?
I've heard of it.
I concur. Agree. I agree. I concur with you. I think you are absolutely right. That you lose track of where you are in the sentence, because that looks like a big mess of spaghetti up there, doesn't it? Yes.
I like the other way because it's like with this I don't really know what to write kind of.
Right.
And it's like I can just get off track and like
Yeah.
lose control.
Yeah.
And also like
Yeah.
I can edit the words to
Yeah.
like fit
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what I'm thinking about it.
Thank you for that opinion. I think you're very right. I think you boys, both of you, are saying the same thing to me. It's something that we can talk about, the teachers can talk about. And one of the things that I might to ask the teachers to do next week is to just put a frame up and get you to write with no instruction, and we'll use that as a formative assessment. Just to put the frame up and then you write. You haven't done that yet, have you?
We did that in Strand, yes.
Stranded, but not in Ferris wheel fire. Yeah, and I think that will kind of be a bit of a review for us as the teachers to see in Stranded. Yeah. So we need to see what has carried over into your writing. So one of the best ways to do that is to not teach you for a frame and see what you do. Anyway, but that's not today. Today, now, Lockie, I need you. Can you take the or the verb as well? In mine, I've got they, because what's that referring to?
The people.
There's like more than one.
More than one. And because you've already mentioned the noun. What's the noun in the first sentence?
The helicopter?
No. The character noun. I'll give you.
So like the girls in the
Yes. Yes. So when you say the bystanders, and then you say they, we know that is referring to the bystanders. We know that. So they, now here, we need an adverb of manner and a verb, because they are saying things like, "My guys, there's a fire out there. There's people in danger. Help! You've got to do something." So you've got to explain what you just heard me doing. So we need a verb and we need an adverb, or the adverb could come here. So we could either have that, or we could have that. So you need a verb and an adverb. They, to the, and we need nouns for these guys. So what's the verb? They, yes, Teddy.
They yelled.
What's an adverb? Or you're doing verb still?
Oh, I was going to say, frantically they screamed over the helicopter blades.
Do I love that?
Yes.
Yes. Frantically they screamed over the helicopter blades. What does that imply about the helicopter blades? Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Where's your adverb of manner? They yelled or screamed.
That there's a fire spreading
They screamed that there is a fire spreading.
on the Ferris wheel.
Yep. To that, and what is the specific word for these guys? To the? When somebody flies a plane. Pilot. I really think we need to get specific.
Pilot and the firefighter.
Who? Now we're going to say what they did. What do you think those pilots did? I've got swung into action. That's what I've got. Can you? They're my cheat notes. Who swung into action. That's kind of what I'm going to say is that's a colloquial word, which is have you ever heard that before? It's a little bit slang. It's not kind of something that's very specific, but it means something that you know. Who swung into action. What does that mean when you swing into action? Yes, it means you. Two at a time onto your page. It is going to be one sentence. So why have I got a capital letter for they? It's start. What are you expecting to put at the end?
Full stop.
Well done, Shayla. Does anyone have any questions before you write? Yes? Repetition. Repetition. And what does repetition do in a sentence?
It kind of brings up that word and kind of like makes it bold, I guess.
Yeah, it highlights it. It creates, and here's the word. You've got to remember the word. Oh, you stole it out of my mouth. The word thief. What does it create? It creates a big, again? Emphasis. Everybody say that together. Emphasis. This is how it's spelled. Emphasis. What does emphasis mean? Because it's very, very cool and very important. So for you, lower, lower, lower was a really hero part of your sentence. You wanted to highlight it, so you used repetition. You choose tricks in your sentence that do good jobs for you. Yes.
Well, the two people in this picture,
Yeah.
kind of looks like the mom and dad, or the mom and dad from Stranded.
Ah! Right. Well, do you know what? I'll give you a clue. The same artist has drawn all my pictures. Yeah, yeah. So that's why there's going to be some similarity. Guys, the simile twins at the front. The simile warriors. Can you read yours? Oh, come on. You've just got...
They frantically screamed and yelled at the pilot, who bravely swung into action like a superhero.
Can I read it out? I've got lots of hero words in here. Guess you, as I read out, you've got to guess which words I love. They frantically screamed and yelled at the pilots, who bravely swung into action like a superhero.
Like Spider-Man.
Like Spider-Man. Don.
Can I read mine?
Yes, you can. We've got a bit of time. We're not going on to the next frame, so we've got a bit of time.
As the bystanders violently and wildly yelled as if they were hungry lions, the SWAT pilots understood their communication and did what they said, and landed safely.
How did you come up with that? Are you an author? No? I think you might be. I think that's because that's what authors do. They choose words to create vibes in their sentences and their stories. So you created this kind of like cautious, careful, brave, slightly frantic, you know, you create a beautiful atmosphere as an author would, as someone like Tim Winton would in his novels.
The useless bystanders frantically tried to wave down the Air Force as it tried to get a soldier onto the blazing Ferris wheel. The pilots tried to stay calm, although there were two boys about to die in a blazing Ferris wheel.
So you've used the U-turn, haven't you?
I don't know.
Yes, you have, Oscar. What word in there implies the U-turn? Read it, I'll read it. The pilots tried to stay calm, although...
It's although.
There were two boys about to die in a blazing Ferris wheel. What's the U-turn word?
Although.
Although. They tried to stay calm, although there were two boys. So that interrupted their calmness. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
That U-turn, although, however, but. Remember those as synonyms? Teddy.
I was going to start with my second sentence.
Yes,
a lot better.
Yeah.
They loudly screamed over the deafening helicopter blades at the pilot in the cockpit. 5 seconds later, he swung into action. The big helicopter flew into the distance like a bald eagle towards the burning Ferris wheel.
What do I love in there? You choose what you think I love.
Flew into the distance.
Flew into the distance, and then what's your simile?
Like a bald eagle.
Like a bald eagle. Yes, you are so patient.
They yelled out frantically to the pilots who daringly jumped into the war zone.
Ah, do you know what you've done there? Now this is really sophisticated. Do you know what you've done? Do you know what you've used? It's one level up from a simile. It's called a. Because is it a war zone? No. But what makes you, that is you've done a beautiful thing, a very clever, sophisticated thing. Why did you think it was a war zone?
Because it's like dangerous and there's like
Chaos, screaming. So that metaphor, does everyone, what's your name?
Maddie.
Does everyone understand why when Maddie put in a war zone, it's a metaphor? Do you understand that? Because it doesn't have as, it just has that it is a metaphor, that it is a war zone. Can I use that? Yeah. So tell me that that little piece again. Into the?
Who gently jumped into the war zone.
Jumped into the war zone. So this bit is equaling the, like, it's a metaphor, but what's it standing for? It's standing for the situation, isn't it? So the situation.
But if it said it jumped into like what looked like a war zone,
What do you reckon?
Well,
Yes. They jumped into,
what looked like a war zone?
they jumped into what looked like a war zone. Oscar, how do you know, what word in there tells you that this is a simile and this is a metaphor?
Like, and then if it was it was like saying that it is one.
So this is saying, yes, it is a war zone. This is saying it looked.
Like a war zone.
That is the difference between similes and metaphors. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Which is more powerful?
Metaphor.
Why?
Because
Don't say that it is something.
Not like lies.
See what that little phrase in your sentence has taught us, Maddie. Thank you for sharing. Cameron.
So I got two.
Yep.
Thingies.
Yep.
One's action, so I like to use that to me.
Yep.
And the other one is alliteration. No, not alliteration.
Ah, we haven't had any alliteration today. Welcome, alliteration. Give us a read. I think this will be the last one because we've got to go and have a run.
Safely swooped.
I'll say safely swooped. Ah, why is that alliteration?
Because it's got two S's.
And what does it do? Where's that word? Have I still got that word up there? Casually I point up there. Alliteration. The job of alliteration is to create emphasis. What was the other thing that created emphasis?
Repetition.
Repetition. Lower, lower, lower.
Bigger, bigger, bigger.
Okay, hands down. Who said? Oh, Cameron, sorry, you haven't read it. Sorry. Yes, last thing to do. Read yours.
The helicopter fire department almost crashed into the sizzling fire Ferris wheel, and they missed it by an inch. But
Oh, there's your. Oh, Cameron.
You turn.
Your turn, Bart.
then an epic call back for like an safely swooped down on the ground.
Oh, well done. Well done, Cameron. And while you're clapping, just keep clapping because you've all done a marvellous job. You are a joy to teach. You are interested in learning and you listen to the teaching and you take advice and you give us great feedback and you're motivated and eager to learn. You are a delight to teach and I thank you all for allowing me to take this lesson. When I'm gone, you can talk to Miss Taplin and Mr. Holmes about things that you did or didn't like about this lesson. I will not be offended. We're all learning how to teach you best, okay? So if you think of some things to tell them after I've gone, today or tomorrow or whenever, then we can help, that will help us adjust how we teach you. Promise? Pinky promise in the air? Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. Describe the showgrounds as being,
chaotic.
and what part of speech is that? What language device is it?
Adjective,
Adjective. Why is it an adjective?
because it's describing the noun.
And what's the noun in there?
Playground.
Can I ask you a question that you can't answer? No. I've run out of questions. Well done. I'm just going to ask this person, because you were very disappointed that you didn't get to read. Are you disappointed too? I hate disappointed kids. Right, let's get this spaghetti under control in here, okay? Spaghetti. So we start off with they, which we're talking about the bystanders. We need a verb and an adverb of manner. And I'll put 3 here because I don't know whether you're going to put it in front or behind the verb. Sometimes it sounds better in front, they waved frantically. Sometimes it sounds better, they frantically waved, or it can sound better afterwards, they waved frantically. To the pilots who, that's really important, and then this is the action that the pilots did. Okay, I'll tell you mine. The pilots who were extremely calm. Yep. They screamed, I like frantically at the helicopter pilots who immediately jumped in the helicopter to rescue the girls. That's mine. I went from one, they, and I had my verb and my adverb, to the helicopter pilots who, and then I said what they did. In your heads, do not write yet. In your heads, practice your sentence. This is where it gets traction. It sticks inside your brain. This is the time to get the words sticking inside your brain. As soon as it's done that, so let's have 5 seconds with that rehearsal inside your brain. Now turn to your partner and tell your partner your sentence. And once you have rehearsed to your neighbour, it is time to write.
Okay.
Still keep conscious. Let those words come out of your brain 1 or 2 at a time. Let them pour out onto the page. It is one sentence, so what's going to go at the end of your last word?
Full stop.
Right. Heather, what we'll do is take a screenshot of that, so that, sure, if you can, just a 4.
Sure. Okay.
On your computer, because is it coming up on